Time I got jumped at school, story time. So back when I was in middle school, me and my family moved to another city and I had to go to a school that I never even heard of. I knew no one at that school. My first day was horrible. I had no friends and I had to eat lunch by myself. And every time I would try to sit next to someone, that person would get up from the table and move as if I had the cooties or something. One day, as I was eating lunch by myself, a boy from one of my classes came and sat down by me and started talking to me. He was like, "Why are you eating lunch by yourself?" And I said, "Because I have no friends and I'm a loser." And he started laughing and asked if he could be my friend. By the way, this boy was kind of cute, I'm not gonna lie. I was like, yeah, we could be cool, whatever. From that day on, we started eating lunch together and talking. My mom usually picks me up from school, but this day she had called my school and told the counselor to tell me I had to walk home because she was running late, which was okay because our house was literally 10 minutes away from the school. So as I started walking home, I heard a group of girls say, "There she go." But no way I thought they were talking about me. So I ignored them. Then out of nowhere, I felt someone push me from the back. So I turned around thinking someone bumped me on accident. But to my surprise, it was four girls standing behind me with their arms crossed in anger. I was really confused. I was like, "What's up?" One of the girls was like, "This is the girl that's been trying to steal your boyfriend." She said this to one of the four girls. I was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, what boyfriend? I'm not trying to steal anyone's boyfriend." And one of the girls asked me, "Do you know Chris?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's my homeboy." And before I could even explain, someone punched me in the face so hard that I fell to the ground. One girl started to pull my hair and she was yelling, "Chris is my boyfriend! Chris is my boyfriend!" As I started to get up, another girl karate kicked me in my liver. My whole body went into like a muscle cramp. I couldn't even fight back. Then a crowd of people started to come closer and watching. I heard people laughing and calling me names. I was just lying on the ground getting stomped all over. Eventually, some teachers came over and told us to go home. One teacher helped me up and yelled at me and said, "Get out of here before I write you up." I was in so much pain that I limped all the way home. When I got home, I went to my room and took a hot shower. I was hoping the pain would go away. I tried to hide my injuries from my mom because I didn't want my mom going to the school and to embarrass me even more. She was one of those moms. So I went to school like nothing ever happened. In gym, Chris came to me and said, "I heard what happened yesterday. I'm sorry for not telling you I had a girlfriend." I was like, "It's all cool, but I don't think we should be friends anymore." And he was like, "Don't let her scare you away." But I was like, "Sorry, Chris," and I walked away from him. When it was lunchtime, I hid in the restroom. I was too embarrassed to go to the cafeteria because it felt like the whole school was watching me and teasing me. So I sat on the toilet and ate my lunch. I was eating. I felt very dizzy. I ended up passing out in the restroom. I woke up in the hospital. Come to find out, I really was injured from the fight and had to stay in the hospital for internal bruising.
This is a story time on how the first ever boy to call me pretty ended up being a murderer. You heard it right. You heard me right. You heard me absolutely right. Out of respect for the family, I'm gonna call him Manny and then his friend Vinny. When I was in 8th grade, I met this kid named Manny, right? And he was in a lot of my classes and he had just moved to the area and he was really funny. It ended up being that my best friend, who was also my neighbor, became really close friends with him, so we were always all three of us hanging out. Literally hanging out every day. Manny basically lived with my neighbor like they were the best of friends. He had the type of personality where you instantly like him, right? Like he was hilarious, he was super genuine, he was a very sweet kid. Like you would have never thought anything weird of him. And Vinny was like the smartest kid you'd ever met in your life. Like he knew fun facts about every single thing you could think of. He was also one of my friends. We rode the bus together and he was hilarious, right? Like we were really close. I may have had a crush on Vinny's brother. That since has definitely changed. Throughout high school, me and Manny actually stayed pretty close because he ended up dating my best friend T. Again, like you would think nothing of it. He was one of the only people that was there for me when I was SA'd. Like he was such a good kid. Around like 11th grade, I actually started feeling weird being around Manny and Vinny. I don't know what it was. It just, they were getting into some bad stuff and I just wasn't interested in being a part of that at all. Even though we weren't close anymore, I still obviously cared about them and they were still really close friends with a lot of my friends, so I still saw them pretty frequently. And they were both really close with my brothers, so I really like kind of was still intertwined but just chose not to be around them. During the end of 12th grade, there was this rumor going around that the two of them had killed someone, and everyone was just kind of like, everyone that heard the rumor at least, everyone was just like, yeah, right, they're too nice of kids, like they would not let that happen. Like Vinny had a kid on the way, and Manny had a girlfriend who was my best friend. Like they wouldn't risk everything and like do something terrible like that. And on the day of graduation, we're all lined up, ready to go get our freaking diplomas, like we're all excited. And out of nowhere, as if it was like out of a movie, we all got a notification on Twitter saying that Manny and Vinny had been arrested for murder. Like on the day of graduation, like we were all expecting them to be there to graduate. Like what? I remember just looking for my friend Tegan. We hadn't really been close at that time, and I remember just thinking like, OMG, like this has to be the worst thing to ever happen in your life. Basically, the story goes like this. Vinny had a brother who had a girlfriend who had a mother, right? The girlfriend decided she wanted to kill her mother and asked Vinny and Manny to do it for her, and they would all split the life insurance. The night of the murders, they decided that they were going to suffocate her with a pillow, which is absolutely disgusting. Because it was a murder, the life insurance obviously wasn't going to be given out right away, and they ended up investigating it. Her friend ended up feeling really guilty for killing her mom and felt scared that the boyfriend was going to kill her too, so she went to the cops. Pretty much just confessed everything that happened, and then they questioned Manny and Vinny, and Manny was the first one to start chirping. They were put away in jail. We found out more details, like Vinny really was begging not to do it. He really didn't want to do it when it came down to it, and Manny wanted to force the situation. Like, it was crazy. Ultimately, Manny ended up getting 10 years in prison, and Vinny ended up getting life in prison, which was weird because it should have definitely been flopped. They cut Manny a deal, so, I mean, the true crime show Oxygen actually did a full episode on this. And my best friend was dating the guy at the time of the murder and had no idea.
Time. Okay, so when I was around 10 years old, I had just transferred to a brand new school. It was the second day of school, and I was trying to find my way to this math class that I had. And as I'm walking trying to find this classroom, there are these glass windows next to me. So of course I looked out them, and when I looked out, I seen this guy in an all black outfit. And well, I thought he was just a student, so I thought nothing of it, and I just kept walking. So then I get to this flight of stairs that connects the reading hallway with the downstairs math hallway, and I started walking down them. When I got to the bottom of the stairs, I felt a tap on my shoulder. As I'm turning around, I see the same black outfit and the same guy from earlier. He then asked me, hey, where's the front office? And I was like, oh, you go down the corridor and then you just turn to the right and it's gonna be right there. He didn't say anything after that, but as he was turning to leave, I saw a gun in his pocket and I just stood there staring. After that, I got to class and I found out that the school was actually on lockdown, but they didn't say it on the hallway speakers. So then one of the teachers called the cops, and from what the cops said, the guy was trying to get into the school to unalive the administrator because he owed money and he didn't want to pay the debt. To this day, he's still in prison and we don't know anything else.
When I was in 5th grade, I was seated next to basically the class bully, class clown, whatever you want to call him. And my teacher was like, we're doing new arrangements. We're doing something new. And I went to middle school for 5th grade. Long story. I can explain that in a different video. Anyway, so we didn't have the typical like recess or anything like that. So I was sitting next to this kid all day, but we still had to like stay in the same classroom. So I was sitting next to this kid all day and we didn't really get a break from him. And when I tell you, I was up to here and I just kept complaining. I was like, sir, I really just don't want to be in this seat, this and that. I'm sure it wasn't that well spoken, but I was like, I want to move, probably like really annoying, like, I want to move, blah, blah, blah. You know, I just did not, me and this kid, like, we would butt heads a lot, and I just did not want to be near him. And so the teacher was like, oh my gosh, you guys bicker so much, like a married couple, in front of the entire class. And all I heard was, you guys are like a married couple. And I took this as the teacher making fun of me in front of everyone. And so I just kind of like quietly cried. Guys, I promise, I was not like a school crier, like cries in the bathroom type of person. But for some reason he said that and it just, I was like, how could you possibly think? Like, the tears went down and he's like, oh, he's like, what did I activate in this young girl? And then I went home crying.